You remember when President Trump was preparing to bomb Iran and a bunch of his erstwhile supporters turned on him and started freaking out? And then I pointed out that Trump has a good record on foreign policy, so maybe we should just let him cook a little bit. And then Trump did bomb Iran, and even more people freaked out, and even more of his erstwhile supporters condemned him, and they all started screaming about World War III. And I calmly pointed out that Trump's attack was not all that out of the ordinary and was actually quite measured. And then everyone totally ignored my advice and kept screaming about a forever war and World War III right up until the minute that Trump brokered a ceasefire, ending the Israel-Iran war after just 12 days. Maybe 12 days and a little extra if you count. It'll dust up this morning when Israel got a little big for its britches and Trump had to smack him down, and now it's all good. If you don't remember that, I'm reminding you. Not just because I want to say I told you so. You know I hate to say that. But so that you remember the next time you are inclined to freak out about Trump. He's a Russian asset. Cross that one off the list. He is an insurrectionist. Cut that one out too. He's destroying the economy. The economy looks great. And now he's starting World War III. Another hysterical claim, which I'm happy to report we can cross off the list, for now at least, with all the rest of them. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show. Welcome back to the show. A Muslim socialist who wants to stop arresting criminals and who wants to trans little kids is currently leading in the New York City mayoral primary, beating Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo is the conservative in the primary. Just when you think New York can't drop any lower, good grief. We will get to that momentarily. First, however, I want to tell you about something much, much more important. A great New York name, Vanderbilt. I want to tell you about Vandy Crisps. Go to vandycrisps.com/Knowles. Did you know that all chips and fries used to be cooked in beef tallow up until the 1990s when big corporations made the switch to cheap processed seed oils? Today, seed oils make up a staggering 20% of the average American's daily calories. That's gross. Recent studies have started linking these oils to metabolic health issues and inflammation throughout the body, which got the folks at Vandy Crisps thinking, there must be a better way. They decided to go back to basics and created a potato chip with just 3 simple ingredients: heirloom potatoes, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. What makes Vandy different is not just what they've taken out, but what they put back in. That grass-fed beef tallow is not just for flavor. It's packed with nutrients that are great for your skin, brain, and hormones. When you snack on Vandy, you will notice the difference, immediately. Instead of that familiar crash, bloat, or sluggish feeling you get from regular chips, you'll feel satisfied, light, energetic, and very saucy and cool. The beef tallow is great. All I would say about this, yes, it's better than the seed oils probably, and yes, it's the taste, man. It's the taste. It's the greatest chip you'll ever have in your entire life. It almost tastes like a different thing. Made 100% in America with zero shortcuts, Vandy represents what snacking should feel like. Satisfying and guilt-free. Are you ready to give Vandy a try? Go to vandycrisps.com/Knowles. Use code Knowles for 25% off your first order. vandycrisps.com/Knowles. Code Knowles, 25% off your first order. I wake up this morning. I was with you last night. I don't know if you don't tune into the DailyWire or if you don't tune into YouTube or X, you might not have caught my live reaction to the ceasefire. But this broke yesterday evening, and before I left my studio, I said, okay, we'll do a quick live reaction. I said, this is great news. Ha, told you so. All you panic hands, all you lunatics were freaking out on the left, on the right. The people, I've supported Trump for 10 years, but this is too far. He's going to drag us. I can't imagine that he's going to use P2 bombers. And they were all whining and crying and screaming and shrieking their heads off. And I urged calm the whole time. I said, I don't know, guys, he's pretty good. I, like Vice President J.D. Vance, think that Trump has earned some credibility on this issue. And everyone just remain calm. I think it's going to be okay. Then it was okay. Trump announces a ceasefire. And what did I say in my live reaction? You can go back to the tape. It only came out about 12 hours ago. I said, my fear now is that Israel is not going to want to accept the ceasefire. My fear now is what Trump wanted to do was eliminate the Iranian nuclear program and move on and have peace because we're the global hegemon. And he recognizes his role as the global empire and he wants to establish peace so that people can conduct their affairs and live in a flourishing way. I said, that's not what Israel wants. What Israel wants is regime change in Iran. They haven't come this far to allow the Ayatollah to keep his job. In fact, the the Israeli defense minister, I think it was, said that the Ayatollah can no longer be permitted to exist. So I said, they're not going to like this Trump ceasefire. And I think that Trump's job now is going to be not to rein in the Iranians. He's already done that with his B-2 bombers. Now his job is going to be to rein in the Israelis. And what do you know? This one I actually do hate to say I told you so. What do you know? Immediately, Iran reportedly breaks the ceasefire. Or actually, I don't know. The reporting is very unclear. It's the fog of war. What appears to have happened is Trump announces that the ceasefire is soon going to go into effect. So Israel says, all right, we got to get while the getting's good. And they drop as many bombs as they possibly can on Iran. Then Iran shoots some missiles into Israel. And then Israel comes back and rains down hellfire. And President Trump had this to say about it.
Do you believe that Iran is still committed to peace?
Yeah, I do. They violated it, but Israel violated it too.
Are you questioning if Israel is committed?
Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I've never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. But I'm really unhappy if Israel's going out this morning because of one rocket that didn't land, that was shot, perhaps by mistake, that didn't land. I'm not happy about that. You know what? We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing. Do you understand that?
Everyone's all worried about someone dropping an A-bomb. President Trump, he drops the F-bomb. We have two countries, don't know what the F they're doing. And he's coming out hard against Israel, as he should. We pay for their country. And we have brokered this peace. We helped them when they asked us to help them destroy the Iranian nuclear program, which is much more of a threat to Israel than it is to the United States. It's a threat to everyone, and the U.S. has an interest in nuclear nonproliferation. But Iran posed a much greater direct threat to Israel than to the United States. And then Trump says, enough. That's it. We're the hegemon. We're the boss. We pay for your country, knock it off. And what does Israel do? They say, great, I can't wait to abide by that ceasefire. But before that ceasefire officially goes into effect, we're going to bomb Iran back to the Stone Age. No, that's not how a good partner behaves. And Trump reacts with a great deal of anger. I generally don't like it when politicians go blue. I don't think it's the sort of thing statesmen ought to do. Here it was for clear tactical effect. He wants to make clear to the Israelis that we're not going to let the tail wag the dog, okay? Knock it off. And then what does Trump do, happily? Trump has a very good relationship with Israel. They have a town in Israel named after him. He posts later, but between the time I wake up and the time I get to the office, I say, am I going to have to change my show today? Are we going to have a different kind of show? And between that time, he says, hey, good news. Sounds like the Israelis heard me loud and clear because they turned their planes around. So the ceasefire remains in effect. Good news. Totally predictable, though. And the proof that I'm not just retrospectively describing this is I called it last night. I said, now Trump solved one issue. He solved the issue with Iran. Now we've got a different issue, which is now we got to rein in Israel because they're not going to be happy with a ceasefire. Clear enough. There are still people complaining about the ceasefire today. We'll get to that momentarily. Where did this all come from, though? Just a quick little summary of what happened yesterday. What happened yesterday, it's a good grief. I think we just need to do the show live 24 hours now. It's just everything is happening so fast. What happened yesterday was that Iran lobbed a bunch of missiles at American bases. So this was notably Qatar. I think they also had bases in Iraq and, they shot them all over the place. Now, when this happened, all the panicans and all the neurotic people even on the American right, on social media, were saying, oh no, this is it. This is the escalation. It's World War III. Trump got really stepped in it this time. Oh no. And I looked at it. I said, are you people in a different universe than I am? Because when I look at that missile attack, we didn't hear any reporting about it yet. We just saw the missiles coming over, not just at Iraq, not just maybe at Kuwait or something, but or Bahrain, or I don't know. There were, wherever the U.S. bases were. There were little ones, but the big barrage was at Qatar. And I said, ain't no way Iran is attacking Qatar, which is one of the friendliest countries with Iran. Qatar, which hosts Iranian proxies. Ain't no way. I said, this is obviously just to save face. Iran got completely pantsed and humiliated by Trump on the international stage. They can't just take it lying down. They have to at least send over a symbolic attack. But I said publicly, I said, look, if God forbid any U.S. servicemen are injured, then this is going to be an escalation. But if all we're seeing is what we're seeing right now, if it's just impotent Iranian missiles that fired at a friendly nation, then actually this episode is probably over. Now, privately, what I said, though I didn't post this, is I said I wouldn't be surprised if Iran gave us a heads up about it. And sure enough, there was reporting from the New York Times said Iran coordinated the attacks on the American airbase in Qatar with Qatari officials and gave advance notice that attacks were coming to minimize casualties, according to 3 Iranian officials familiar with the plans. The officials said Iran symbolically needed to strike back at the U.S., but at the same time carried out in a way that allowed all sides an exit ramp. Obvious. And Trump then said, when he tweeted about this, he said, hey, okay, Iran just lobbed its weak attack on us, and I want to thank them for giving us a heads up beforehand. That was very kind. So happily, and by design, no U.S. service members were killed, no U.S. service members were injured, and no bases were even all that seriously damaged. So then comes the call for peace. But not everybody wants peace. We'll get to that momentarily. First, I want to tell you about Birch Gold. Text Knowles to 989898. We are days away from what has been dubbed the Rio Reset, the greatest threat to the U.S. dollar's global dominance in over 80 years. On July 6th, the BRICS nations, Russia, China, India, Iran, and many more, are expected to announce the launch of a new international supercurrency fully backed by gold or other commodities. This is part of their long-term plan to supplant the U.S. and the dollar as cornerstones of the global financial system. How can you protect your IRA or 401k from the fallout from this landmark announcement? Diversify with gold from Birch Gold Group. Historically, gold has been a safe haven in times of high uncertainty, which is right now. Get a free info kit on gold IRAs and decide for yourself if a tax-sheltered retirement account backed by physical precious metals is right for you. Text the word Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S, to 989898. There is a monumental shift happening among nations that control 1/3 of the world's GDP. Kicks off July 6th. Arm yourself with information to diversify your retirement savings. Text Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S, to the number 989898 and claim your free info kit from Birch Gold. So Trump calls for peace. He says, Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and 1 was set free because it was heading in a non-threatening direction. So they let 1 just go by because it was going to hit the dirt. I'm pleased to report no Americans were harmed. Hardly any damage was done. More importantly, they got it all out of their system. I love it. He would system in quotes. I love that, though. Really, now he sounds like dad. When he comes in, I'm unhappy with Iran, and I'm very unhappy with Israel. Like Israel's the older brother. You know, even it's like the younger brother started something. It's like the younger brother took the toy. I'm unhappy with you. But you should have known better. I'm really unhappy with you. Come on. You need to set the example. What are you doing? They got it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice. It really twists the knife, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. It both twists the knife and is sincere, I think. I think he is, hey, Iran, thank you for being mature here. Because this is the thing about Iran. You hear a lot of propaganda which says that Iran is totally irrational. They're completely irrational actors. They are terrorists. They do use violence to achieve political means, violence against civilians to achieve political means. They are a rogue state. They got 1 foot outside of the international order, but they do have 1 foot inside of the international order. And they're a real country. They have a real solid government. They have succession. The Ayatollah has apparently named a successor. They're real. This ain't Afghanistan, okay? This is a real country. And so I think what we're seeing from this episode is they're a country that can behave in a rational way. And that's what Trump is thanking them for. Thank you for behaving in a rational way to give us both an exit ramp here. And Trump knew that was likely to happen because this is how Iran has behaved before, including after the attack on Soleimani. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Okay, so he's saying, look, I'm going to let you stay in power. Remember yesterday, I said, look, Trump is calling for regime change, and all you panicans are losing your minds, and you're freaking out, and you're calling him George Bush and all the rest. I said, but Trump just understands deals and incentives. So Trump recognizes that in order to achieve a peace right now with the Ayatollah, he needs a credible threat that he's going to remove the Ayatollah from power. And he's got pretty credible threats after those B-2 bombers dropped bunker busters, destroyed the Iranian nuclear program. So he needs the credible threat. Hey, let's go for regime change. Hey, regime change ain't off the table. But he needs to give the Ayatollah the incentive that, well, maybe we won't do regime change. If you play nice, maybe we'll let you stay in power, which is very much in the American interest. It's not in the interest of the state of Israel, might not be in the interest of Saudi Arabia. I don't know. It's unclear. I don't know if they would be better. Do they want the stability of having the devil they know? Do they want to go for the devil they don't know that maybe would give a more peaceful situation? The Iranian people, I don't know. I'm no Iran expert, but probably a lot of them would benefit from the mullahs being out. But that's not the point. Question is, what is best for peace and what is best for the national interest of the United States? Then Trump tweets out, congratulations, world, it's time for peace. He announces the ceasefire yesterday. And notice what he does here. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's somewhat prolix, but it says, congratulations to everyone. It's been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. 6 hours from now, he kind of lays out how it's going to go down. The war will be considered ended. Iran will start the ceasefire. Then Israel will start the ceasefire. And that will be an official end to the 12-day war, all caps. So he starts this out because Trump is so good at branding. He's such a good marketer. He says, okay, I'm already going to name this. You've heard of the 6-day war. This is the 12-day war. And I, Donald Trump, you were all saying that I'm going to lose my Nobel Peace Prize now. Not that they would ever give him the Nobel Peace Prize. He says, well, look at me. I wrapped up this war. I, peacemaker Donald Trump, wrapped up this war in a mere 12 days. The 12-day war. I want to congratulate both countries, Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. He repeats it again. He loves the marketing of it. Notice what he does here, too. He allows both nations to keep their dignity. Congratulations, Iran. This was very well done. Congratulations, Israel. This was very well done. Good job. Congratulations to everyone. God bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. God bless the world. A belligerent, shallow statesman would say, damn you to hell, Iran. We'll get you next time. And we love you, Israel. Or vice versa. Obama or something. So we love you, mullahs. Please, can I shine your shoes? Can I please launder your keffiyeh? But we hate you, Bibi. That's what a lesser statesman would have done. Trump, though, realizes you got to give people the opportunity to do the right thing. Don't make it hard for people to do the right thing. Take yes for an answer. That's what Trump's showing here. Not everyone likes the ceasefire. Mark Levin, who has been, a conservative pundit and author, very, very famous, needs no introduction. Mark Levin has been a big voice, a hawkish voice on war in Iran, taking out the Iranian nuclear program. Mark Levin does not like this word ceasefire.
I hate this word ceasefire. I really do. The president hated it a few days ago, too. What's needed now is this, in my humble opinion. Iran should be forced to sign a surrender document, unconditional surrender. They lost their nukes. They've lost their air force. They have no ground-to-air protection. China didn't step in. Russia didn't step in. Not a single Arab country stepped in. The supreme Nazi is hiding in a bunker, much like Adolf Hitler did. Adolf Hitler wasn't thrown a lifeline. He wasn't thrown in a lifeline. He was going to be killed, so he committed suicide. I'm very much interested in seeing how this plays out. I really am. Because what does an agreement look like? Does that mean the supreme Nazi survives? Does that mean the regime survives? I guess so.
Not too happy about that, is he? Now, I like Mark Levin. He's laying it on a little thick here, isn't it? The supreme Nazi. He's not the Ayatollah, say what you will, but he's not a Nazi. You know, a Nazi is a German national socialist. He doesn't like Jews. I guess that's the one similarity, but he's a Shiite, 12er Muslim political leader. He's not a Nazi. There are distinctions between not every bad guy in the world is Hitler. But he's drawing the comparison here because he says, look, we killed Hitler. Why are we going to stop short of killing the Ayatollah? We denazified Germany after World War II. Why aren't we going to Mullahise Iran or so? Why aren't we pushing all the way for regime change? Mark Levin has been a huge, huge hawk. Now, there have been other voices, other elder pundits. They're old, but they've been around for a long time. They have a lot of influence who have been calling for America to do absolutely nothing. Most notably, Tucker has said we should not have any involvement in this whatsoever. This is horrible. He was saying this is going to lead to, if we do anything to Iran, it's going to cause thousands of American servicemen to be killed at U.S. bases. That turned out not to be true. There were missiles fired from Iran, but it was symbolic. Not a single American was injured. I'm not saying that I like both of these guys. I like Tucker and I like Mark Levin. I'm not knocking either of them personally. I'm making a point about the political situation and Trump's role, because what Trump did was the moderate course of action. Everyone accuses Trump of being some crazy extremist. He is not an extremist. That is how he's had a successful first term and second term, into our second term now. That's how he built this coalition. This is something people don't get about Trump, because he uses colorful language and talks like a New Yorker. They say, Trump is an extremist. He's not. Trump is a moderate in the best sense of the word. He's a moderate in the Aristotelian sense, in the John Henry Newman sense. It's not, you think of some of the squishy rhinos. They're moderates in that they want to, appease everybody, and they don't have any principles, and they're rudderless, and they just kind of squish, and they pick actually the worst of all options. Trump doesn't do that. Trump recognizes that moderation, properly understood, is a virtue. And so, no, we're the global hegemon. We're not going to isolate ourselves and neglect the rest of the world. That's ridiculous. We're the global empire. It's not how it works. We might not have an interest in global politics, but global politics sure has an interest in us. So no, we're not doing that. But likewise, we're not going to light up every country on earth and overturn every regime. We don't have an interest in that either. Sorry, some people, are really into that. That ain't in our interest. No. We're going to achieve our strategic objectives. We're going to take risks. We're going to demonstrate courage, political courage, obviously the courage of our service members. We're going to intervene when we feel it absolutely necessary. And then we're going to give people an off-ramp so that we can move on and not imperil the many other things we want to do. In this case, notably, Trump's domestic agenda. In many ways, Trump benefits from having Tucker out here screaming about how we shouldn't, intervene at all, and Mark Levin here, who wants to decapitate the mullah himself and put his head on a pike in his living room. In many ways, Trump benefits from that because it shows you that Trump's view is the moderate view, and I think it's where most Americans are. As I took my very scientific Twitter poll right when this was all about to break out, and I did it knowing basically exactly what the answers were going to be, but just to show the predicament Trump was in. I said, do you think that we should let Iran have a nuclear weapon? 89% no. Do you think we should go to war with Iran? 89% no. There's a tension between those two things. As of now, again, it could change momentarily, it could be changing while I'm doing this show right now. But as of now, Trump appears to have walked that tightrope perfectly. Now, one way, if you want to walk a tightrope perfectly, you probably need to get good sleep. That's why you should check out Boll & Branch. Go to bollandbranch.com/Knowles. Do you want to know what it's like to sleep with me? Do you want to know what it's like in the old Knowles boudoir? Well, you can do that easily with Boll & Branch. If you find yourself tossing and turning all night, constantly flipping your pillow to find the cool side, if you or your spouse are hot sleepers, summer nights can become a battle between exhaustion and overheating. That restless cycle of too hot, too cold, never quite right can leave you longing for the cool, comfortable sleep that you deserve. With Boll & Branch's best-selling Percol sheets, You will finally get the cool sleep you've been craving. These are not just any ordinary sheets. They're crafted with a special cooling weave using the finest 100% organic cotton that feels crisp and breathable against your skin. It is absolutely fabulous. Multiple U.S. presidents have slept in Boll & Branch sheets, and your favorite podcaster has as well for years, for many years at this point. They're just magnificent. Feel the difference an extraordinary night's sleep can make with Boll & Branch. Get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bollandbranch.com/Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S. That is Boll & Branch, B-O-L-L-A-N-D, Branch, branch.com/Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S, to save 15%. Exclusion supply. See full site for details. Speaking of moderation at the White House, Mediaite is shocked and horrified by something that just happened at the White House. This is the headline. I'm not going to tell you what really was going on here. Here's just the headline from Mediaite, which is a left-wing outlet about the media. Stunning hidden cam video catches Trump faith office group speaking in tongues on White House grounds.
We just thank you right now, Lord, from the east, the west, the north, and the south. You will shake America with your power and your glory. We cancel every assignment of the enemy. This nation was birthed to be one nation under God, and we are standing on the soil of the White House, and we are declaring your word. Every place that our foot will trod, you will give it to us, and we are taking the land. We thank you, O Lord. You have brought us to the kingdom for a time such as this, and this is the time. And so we declare right now, from the capital of our nation, that America will come back to God. We will come back to God. Nothing will stop this nation, and we speak right now by the authority of heaven. You told us to bring heaven to earth. Heaven is being released through your people right now.
Okay, and so Mediaite posts this. Oh, look at these wacky, crazy religious kooks at the White House. Look, they're so wacky and crazy. Yeah, okay. Look, that's not my flavor of Christianity, all right? The head of the White House faith office is, I think it's a woman, Paula White. I don't know much about her. I guess she's a televangelist. She's been criticized for supposedly promoting the prosperity gospel and, raising money in ways that are, a little sus and a little bit dubious. And okay, sure. This ain't my cup of tea. They say they heard speaking in tongues, by which I think they mean glossolalia, which sounds like shamalala ha la ba ba ba, that sort of thing, which, is not, it kind of exists in the mystical tradition, a little, maybe does, but, traditionally that's not really a traditional understanding of what speaking in tongues is. And yes, this kind of prayer is quite performative, quite emotivist, and it's performative not in a liturgical sense, but in a kind of personal, very modern, individualist kind of sense. Yeah. I get all the criticisms, and that's not exactly my flavor of religion. Sure, you going to tell me that's weirder than what Joe Biden did? You're going to tell? Because I remember. Let me think about religion under Joe Biden. Let me talk about religious views, man's place in the universe, how we understand ourselves, our souls, our spirits. I remember Joe Biden hoisting that terrorist pride flag and having a dude with a breast implant job taking his shirt off and flashing his grotesque simulacrum of female genitals on the south lawn of the White House. I think that's a kookier religion than some, I think, probably very well-intentioned, very sincere evangelical Protestants saying a prayer outside the West Wing. Call me crazy. Did you hear them? They're calling on the name of Jesus. Well, that's actually a very good, normal, reasonable thing to do, because Christ is God and took on flesh to dwell among us and conquered death on the cross and rose again from the dead. In evidence that death had been defeated. And there were 500 eyewitnesses to the resurrection. The apostles, almost all of them, went off to their deaths to proclaim the good news. And the religion spread throughout the global empire, the Roman Empire, and then took over every corner of the earth and then built our whole civilization. So I don't think that's so crazy. Our founding fathers wouldn't have thought that was so crazy. The vast majority of men who built our country wouldn't have thought that was so crazy. Well, they're very emotional. Yeah, are they more emotional than the topless on the south lawn of the White House flashing his chest? No, there's some, and it's not just that. I mean, the issue is a particularly weird one, but there are many other examples of this. Religion on the left today, what is it? It's woo-woo crystals and a kind of watered down Buddhism, I guess, and it's self-deification. It's basically just a worship of the self, a mistaken view of human nature that says that we're either not our bodies at all, or we're entirely our bodies. We're pure matter and flesh, such that when we're feeling sad, we can just take some pills to correct chemical imbalances because we don't really have any intellect or soul. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't give me the sincere evangelicals. I think what they're doing is, in the grand scheme of things, just fine. Just fine. Quite moderate, really. Okay. Speaking of kooks, Zohran Mamdani is beating Andrew Cuomo in the New York City mayoral primary. Zohran Mamdani. Who is Zohran Mamdani? He is a Muslim socialist who is campaigning on not arresting criminals. He's saying, if New York has one problem, it's that they arrest too many criminals. There's not enough crime on the streets. So he wants to stop arresting criminals. He wants to build a bunch of projects. That's another real problem with New York. Not enough public housing. Not enough just gangland, drug den projects. We need to build more of those. He wants to eliminate bus fares. First of all, very few people pay for, relatively few people pay for public transit in New York anyway. I sometimes feel like I'm the only one even paying for the subway, and the subway is the elevated version of New York public transit. But he wants to eliminate bus fares because if you can't pay the $1 or $2 that it costs to ride the bus now, you should be able to ride the bus. But really all that's going to do, it's not going to make it easier for poor people to ride the bus. It's just going to fill the bus up with vagrants and lunatics and who can't even be bothered to spend one of the dollars that they get panhandling on bus fare. They have to go spend it on booze or drugs. So it's just going to make the buses even less desirable to ride than they already are. Oh, he also wants to globalize the Intifada. That's good. Yeah, not enough violent Muslims running around. And he wants to trans the kids. He's running not just on transing the adults, transing the kids. This according to a new poll being reported on by the New York Post. So the way it's working is Andrew Cuomo, the disgraced former governor of New York, is trying to have a comeback. So he's running for mayor, and he's still sort of winning, but New York City has ranked choice voting. So because no one's getting 50%, then it goes to ranked choice. And at that point, this lunatic Zohran Mamdani is jumping over Andrew Cuomo. Just to put that all in perspective, it means that Andrew Cuomo is the conservative candidate for mayor of New York. Andrew Cuomo is not liberal enough for New York. Andrew Cuomo, which you might recall, I forget what year it was, Andrew Cuomo passed a law that said that you could abort a baby up until the moment of birth, and actually changed the New York penal code such that previously, if you murdered a pregnant woman, you'd be charged with double homicide. After Andrew Cuomo got done changing it, because he was so bloodthirsty for the deaths of infants, he changed it so that you would only be charged with a single homicide. And then, to celebrate his infanticidal victory, he lit up the Freedom Tower pink. That's who we're talking about. Andrew Cuomo. Complete nut lunatic. He got run out of, ostensibly he was run out of office because he was harassing his secretary or something, but really it was because he got caught lying about his record during COVID when he sent all the sick people to nursing homes and killed all the old people. And then ran a PR campaign with his brother, who was hosting a show on CNN, trying to pretend that Andrew Cuomo was leading the way in New York. In fact, there was one influencer girl on the left who said she was a Cuomo-sexual. He was doing such a great job. Ooh, we love Andrew Cuomo. He wrote a book about how great he was. He was probably the worst governor during COVID. That guy is too conservative for New York City. Things are going to have to get even worse up there before they get any better. That is, you thought we had reached the David Dinkins level of New York's bottoming out. We got a long ways to go before the next Rudy Giuliani comes up in New York. All the more reason that I think the normal New Yorkers, are going to be heading out to places like Tennessee, Florida, Texas. Maybe that's why. And then it leaves only the lunatics in New York, so they elect Muslim socialists who want to trans the kids. Now, speaking of people getting out of jail, a big update to a big story in the Trump administration. Kind of a foreign story, kind of a domestic story, but a big update and a big fight. There's a lot going on in the world right now, a lot you need to be aware of. Now more than ever, you need the truth. The real story behind the headlines. There's only one place you're going to get it, DailyWire Plus. Become a member, get ad-free shows, and unfiltered opinions from the most trusted voices, the most handsome voices in conservative media. Investigative journalism that cuts through the narrative. Don't miss a moment. DailyWirePlus.com. Join today. Ronnie Hicks, 475, gives me my favorite comment yesterday. You know what he says? He says, I wish more conservative commentators would take the Michael Knowles approach to Trump and just let him cook. I know. Look, let me tell you something. I know that I could wring some more views out. I know I could get those ratings up a little bit higher if I just took stupid positions. I know I could. Oh yeah, my show would be bigger. I would make more money if I just would take stupider, less correct positions. If I said, oh no, we should never intervene. Trump is going to destroy the whole world. Why do we vote for him? I'd get more views. I'd be wrong. Or conversely, if I said, we need to go light them up and bomb everything on earth and we need to, woohoo, this is freedom, whatever. I know. But listen, my friends, I'm not here to flatter you. I'm not here to mislead you. I'm here to tell you the truth as I see it. And 99.7% of the time, I happen to be correct. So what can I say? That's how it goes. That's my burden. Now, speaking of people getting out of jail, the Libs are trying to set Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia loose. Do you remember that name? That's a name I've not heard in a long, long time in this administration because the news cycle moves so fast. Really, you would have heard of him, I don't know, yesterday or something. He's that guy who multiple judges found likely to be a member of MS-13. He was an illegal alien. His wife reportedly took out an order of protection because of domestic violence. He's accused of human trafficking. So he's deported. And then the Democrats, they say, no, we love him. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, he says, no, you took my beloved. No. So Chris Van Hollen leaves all of his actual constituents, the citizens, the taxpayers, people who elected him, flies to El Salvador to go take this gangster, this illegal alien gangster out on a nice romantic lunch date. Says, oh, Kilmar, I missed you so much. It was just so good to hear your voice again. Kilmar's like, ¿Qué? ¿Qué? Well, who are you, ese? He goes, oh, Kilmar. Oh, I love it when you make your jokes like that, whatever. So he goes back up. And then, of course, random federal judges, there are a lot of them, and just all it takes is one random federal judge to say, no, you have to come back. We have to send him back. I need to impede the entire executive branch. So the U.S. says, all right, fine. The executive branch says, fine. We'll bring him back. We will listen to the judges, but we're going to prosecute him for all the crimes that he's committed. Are you sure you want to send him back? Here, we're just going to leave him in El Salvador. But okay, we'll send him back. We'll prosecute him for all the crimes he's committed. So now the liberals say, well, shoot, we don't want that. Okay, I'll tell you what. Bring him back, and you're going to prosecute him, but we're going to insist, this is the judge who's overseeing the case, we're going to insist that while he is awaiting his trial, you let him out of jail. This illegal alien, found by multiple judges likely to be a gangster, part of a Satan-worshipping foreign cartel, you're going to let him out of jail. And here is what President Trump's Department of Homeland Security had to say. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a dangerous criminal illegal alien. We have said it for months, and it remains true to this day. He will never go free on American soil. Good stuff from DHS. Trump has to hold the line on this. This is a crucial fight. I know what some of the squishes on the right are going to say. They're going to say, well, who cares? It's just this one random illegal alien. And who knows? Maybe he's not a member of MS-13. I mean, it seems overwhelmingly likely that he is. The preponderance of evidence suggests that he is. He's at the very least a criminal in the sense that he's an illegal alien, and he's accused of being a wife beater. There's the order of protection, and he would appear to be a human trafficker. But maybe he's not the most perfect 100% watertight case. So let's just let him go. The Libs want him so bad. Chris Van Hollen wants to go take him to a nice beach vacation on Fire Island or something. Just let him go. What does it matter? What does it matter? What does it matter? If it didn't matter, why would the Libs be fighting so hard to let this guy out? This is the fight. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a microcosm of the broader fight over illegal immigration. Because the Libs know, if they can get the Trump administration to cave on this guy, quite credibly accused of being a member of MS-13, ostensibly a wife beater, all down the line, but also just an illegal alien who has no right to be here and who should have just been booted out of the country without so much as a conversation. If they can get Trump to cave on that, they'll get him to cave on all immigration. You think you're going to deport 11 to 16 million illegal aliens? People who don't have gang tattoos, who haven't been credibly accused and found likely to be gangsters by judges, who don't beat their wives, no, you're not deporting any of those people. If you let Kilmar Abrego Garcia go, they all go free. That is why the Trump administration is digging in so hard. That's also why the Democrats are digging in so hard. They realize that this guy doesn't know anything. He's just a kind of two-bit gangster. But they're both digging in so hard because they realize this is going to be the sign for how the whole issue goes. Speaking of illegal aliens, good information, good news coming out. People have been criticizing, they always criticize Trump. And when the left criticizes Trump, I accept it. I get it. When the right criticizes Trump with due respect and collegiality on the right issues, okay, all right, look, Trump's not going to get it right 100% of the time. He's only human. Okay, say, maybe that First Step Act wasn't the greatest idea. Oh, maybe okay. I've criticized Trump plenty of times in that way. But when they go after Trump and he's not doing enough of what I want him to do, and he's doing a thing I didn't want him to do, and he's not moving fast, it's so sickening. And they're doing this on the deportations. These people who have undermined Trump every which way, and they just constantly are attacking him. And you think with right-wingers like this, who needs left-wingers? They say, well, okay, he is doing the deportations, he is doing the raids, but it's not quite fast enough. Well, here's some news. 1 million have self-deported since January, which is what Trump called for. This is according to calculations by the Center for Immigration Studies. This is using the Census Bureau's monthly survey. Shows that the number of immigrants in the labor force dropped by about 600,000 from January through May. So that doesn't even include June. The overall number of immigrants in the U.S. fell by almost 1 million, 957,000. According to the lead author of the study, Stephen Camarata, it looks like there's been a Trump effect on the number of illegal immigrants in the country based on the best data we have. So he said the U.S. now has 14.8 million, 1 million fewer than his estimates in January when Trump took office. This is, without question, the best way to do it because it's expensive to actually send in Tom Homan to go down there with a billy club and start wrangling It's expensive. You can see this from the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case. One guy, we tried to deport one gangster, the Libs throw a hissy fit. They're going to keep this going for months, and it's going to cost zillions of dollars, and it's too much in terms of resources. So by far, the best way that you can get the out of the country is have them self-deport. Carrots and sticks, which is what I think Trump has shown beautifully well in the Iran-Israel issue. You got to give people, you got to have the stick. You got to have the Tom Homan stick. You just grab Tom Homan by his ankles and start banging him on the heads of the illegal aliens. You got to have that. But you need to have the carrot, which DHS rolled out, what was it, about a month ago? It's an app where they say, look, we will give you some money if you leave. We'll give you like $1,000. It's cheaper than going in and enforcing the law. If you leave, but we're going to be geotagging you, and you got to be in your actual country of origin, and then we'll send you the money. It's the carrots and the sticks. So far, it's pretty good. Trump's only deported 50,000 people or whatever it is. Yeah, okay. But 1 million have self-deported. I'll take that. And you know what I call that? I don't call that mission accomplished. I call that a good start. Today is Tee Tuesday. The rest of the show continues now. You do not want to miss it. Become a member. Use code Knowles, KNWLAS at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans.